This video, I wanted to go through the syllabus. I'll go through the things that are probably most important to you, but like the statements that are on all the syllabi for all classes, I'll probably skip those. You can read them. They're in the syllabus tab on the left menu in our class, as well as in the modules tab or menu. If you go to the week one module, I put the syllabus at the top of the week one module. My name is Clarissa Steele. I am an assistant professor at Kansas State University in the Department of Management. I teach this class along with the Introduction to HR Management class. So some of you may have taken that class with me before in person. Welcome again if you've taken that class. If you've never taken a class with me, welcome as well. On the top of the syllabus, I have my contact information. You can email me or you can send me a message in Canvas that comes to my email, so it comes to me the same way. That's the best way to contact me. I have my email app on my phone, so it will alert me when I have new emails, and I'll try my best to get back to you as soon as I can. During the work week, that's usually within 24 hours. On the weekends, it could be, you might have to wait until Monday morning. And so if it's an assignment where you're having some issues, we can figure it out on Monday morning if I don't get back to you before then. I say that because sometimes I travel on the weekends to go visit my family. As you'll see in my introductory discussion post, I play a lot of tennis and I play on the weekends. And when I play, I'm gone for the whole day. And when I get back, I'm tired. So I don't usually check my email or I don't get on my computer to work. So just contact me by email. We'll figure it out on Monday if it's after an assignment's due. If you have a real emergency, you can call me or text me. And when I say an emergency, I'm thinking like we have a final exam on final exam week, and you get in and there's something going on with your exam, and you want to talk to me about it or let me know. You can text me or call me. You could also just email me if that happens, and we'll figure it out. I have office hours by Zoom for everyone. So if you ever want to talk to me, like say you do your weekly quiz and you want to see what your performance was or what questions you missed, I'm happy to go through that with you on Zoom. For those of you who are on campus or are in Manhattan or want to come to campus at some point, I have regular office hours for my in-person class, but I'm happy to have all of you come to my office hours as well, because really they're for all students. Those are on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1:15 to 2:15 in my office, which is 3048 in the business building. But you can also send an email to me and set up an appointment in person, or for everyone, you can set up an appointment by Zoom, just emailing me or sending me a Canvas message. We have two required course texts. The good news is both of these are free for you, and they're new for me because I'm trying to find free resources for students. So hopefully these will work really well for us this semester, and you'll kind of like that you don't have to spend money on this class. The first one, and the one that we'll use for the first 10 weeks of class, is from the Economic Research Institute, or ERI. And it's called the ERI Distance Learning Center Online Compensation Textbook. I've included the URL here. The URL goes to like the table of contents for that textbook, so it's easy to just click on the chapters each week. And I'll put in the syllabus, you'll see at the end where I put the chapters on there. So that should be easy for you to access. I will give one point right here. I printed out the book in the summer, so if they update this textbook, it is very possible that you might read something different from what I'm reading. My guess will be the content will not be different, but if for some reason you're watching the videos and you don't identify something that I've said is in the book, you can let me know, hey, I think this chapter changed. My guess is they won't change it. I'm guessing they update it periodically, but the actual content doesn't change much. I also will add content from either other research I've looked at or even potentially other textbooks I've used before. Since this is an economics textbook, it doesn't come from an HR management perspective always, and so I might add more of that into the class. However, the past textbooks I've used, and if you have any friends who've taken this class before, will be completely different this time because of this. They're extremely technical. They're really master's level textbooks. There aren't very many of them, and because of that, they're super expensive. So I'm hoping this resource will be enough for us to get through the basics of compensation and also save you a lot of money. For the last 5 weeks of the class, we'll use this Caldwell book called Performance Management. It's kind of like a pop psychology book. It's really one of those airport books that managers would pick up to learn about how to do performance management. It's a great introduction. It's not very technical, but it does give you some tips on if you're a manager, how do you do performance management? Some of you will become managers. If you are a manager, you'll use this directly, but also in HR, a lot of times what you're doing is coaching managers to do these kinds of things like performance management. And so this will help you coach in the future, or at least be a resource for you if you have to do that. This book is also completely free to us. It is available through the K-State Library. So I put the URL that directly links to the book, but you will have to sign in with your K-State credentials in order to access the book. But if you just go to the table of contents, you can see the chapters and just click on the chapters. And again, those chapters are in the course, the tentative schedule at the end of this syllabus. If you have any problems accessing these texts, or for some reason if the URL changes during the semester and you all of a sudden have no access at all, just let me know. But I'm going to be reading them along with you since I haven't used them before, making sure that I'm staying with the textbooks, and then whatever I'm adding, I'm letting you know that I'm adding this to whatever you've been reading. The course prerequisite is Management 531, Human Resource Management. That's where some of you may have taken this class before. If you haven't had this class, you'll be fine to cover this class, but you may want to talk to your advisor just to make sure that you can still get credit for this class, even if you don't have the prerequisite, or if you're taking that class right now in the same semester. I'll let you look at these student learning objectives on your own time, but essentially it's really the components of the class that we're going to cover. We're covering compensation systems as well as employee benefits and performance management. We'll be doing that in different ways throughout the semester, but these are typical student learning objectives in a compensation and performance management course. And they're also aligned with a lot of the SHRM objectives. Some of you may be going to take the SHRM exam, or have taken the SHRM exam. A lot of what we'll learn in this class will align with what you would need to know for that exam in terms of compensation, benefits, and performance management. Now, this is where I'm going to start going through things because we have statements that are kind of the same across different classes. I expect professional behavior. I've built this class right now without a lot of discussion amongst yourselves, simply because last year when I taught this class, I had a lot of people, when I had discussion posts, not even talking to each other. They also weren't posting their own thoughts. They were using AI a lot. So to try to get around that for now, I have a lot of activities where you'll just send me your activity or your assignment or whatever it is that I'm having you to do. But if for some reason you all, and I might actually just survey you sometime in the semester, if you all want to have more like discussions with other people in class, or if you want to work together to study, week to week, let me know and I can add some discussion posts. I can like help you use the people on the left menu. There's a people tab that actually let you contact other students in the class. But if you need help using that, I'm happy to do that to kind of make this more of a community. The grading is pretty simple in this class. It's much more simplified than I've done in previous semesters. So hopefully this will save you a lot of time and work so that you can really focus on the content. And hopefully it will also save me as I have to go through this week by week with you all since I'm using new textbooks. Our course will really just be 4 types of assignments. The kind of last and final one, but maybe the biggest one as just one thing, is the comprehensive final exam. That will cover all the chapters in both books that we will cover. It'll cover slides and then also any notes that you've taken from those slides or textbooks. The comprehensive final exam is 100 points out of 500, so it's about 20% of the total of your grade. It'll be 50 multiple choice questions, but you'll have 110 minutes to answer them, which is the standard time during finals week for on-campus courses. So I'm just making that the same for you all. It's open note, open book, but I would ask you not to work with other people, to use like Google or other search engines or use AI. Really don't use resources that are outside of this class or use other people to help you with that test. I'll remind you when we get to it, but just to let you know, that's how we're going to do things in this class. Also for the weekly quizzes as well. Every week we'll have a quiz on the material that we're covering. The quiz will cover the reading material mostly, but I may or may not sometimes add things from the slideshow, especially if I've added material to the chapter. So you may want to watch the videos before you take the weekly quiz. But the weekly quizzes, just like the comprehensive final exam, will be open note, open book. So whatever notes you have from the chapter, you can use, but I ask you not to use search engines, AI, or ask other people for help with those weekly quizzes. The weekly quizzes will probably, right now I'm imagining there'll be about 15 questions each week on Canvas. I didn't mention this before, your comprehensive final exam will also be on Canvas under the quizzes tab. So that's how we'll do this from week to week. The weekly quizzes will be in the quiz tab as well. 15 questions. You'll have about, I think I put 25 minutes. Yep, 25 minutes to complete them. And they'll always be due on Sundays at 11:59 p.m. Um, the only time that's not true is the very last week of class because the last week of class ends Friday, December 12th, in which case then it'll be Friday at 11:59 p.m. that your weekly quiz will be due. The other kind of big project we have in this class is an interview project, and I'll give you many more details later, but essentially I want you to interview someone who works in HR management or even compensation specifically if you can find someone, and then two employees, they don't have to be in the same company, but two employees to ask kind of about their perceptions of compensation. You'll do those interviews on Zoom. You might be able to record them depending on whether the people you're interviewing will allow you so that you can have some notes to finish up kind of the final assignment or kind of deliverable to me around that interview project. That interview project will be due Friday, December 12th at 11:59 p.m. So you'll have all the way the whole semester up until finals week to finish that. And then I'll be grading those as I get them in during the semester. So if you're one of those people, you either know you're going to be super busy at the end of the semester or you really like to be on top of work. I'm going to try to get those instructions out to you the second or third week of the semester. If you want to get that project done early, you can be done as early as you want with the project once you have the instructions to do it. So you don't have to wait until the end of the semester to finish that. And I'll give you a grading rubric and everything, so you'll know what I'm kind of looking for in that interview project. But I want you to kind of make it your own and make it what's interesting from this class for you in making that project. Okay, my cat has joined me. So my introduction in the discussion post, I said my cat might join me. She often does when I'm making videos. The final assignment will be kind of a few assignments throughout the semester, and they're assignments that are based on the topic or the content we're covering that week. There are 5 weeks where we just have an assignment for that week that's related to the content that we're going over in that week, and those are 10 points each. They're on the syllabus, and when we get to the tentative schedule at the very end of the syllabus, I pointed out where those are due and what week the content they're covering is coming from. And then there's one assignment for the last 5 weeks of class where I want you to do some performance management for yourself just to try it out and see if this is a helpful tool for you, but also to get a sense of how you would do this for an employee. In that case, that assignment, you'll develop kind of your goal and the way that you're going to measure your progress on that goal in the first week. And then every week, you'll give me an update on your progress and a self-reflection about your progress on that goal. For each of those weeks on that assignment, they're 5 points each, but over the last 5 weeks of class, this assignment shouldn't be actually too difficult. It's more just trying out something that could be a helpful tool for you or a helpful tool if you're an HR manager or a manager of people, whether you're in HR specifically or not. All of those assignments will be worth 75 points. So that will be a good way for you to actually apply what we're learning in class. Um, Makeup exams. If you made an arrangement with me before the exam, say for the comprehensive final, or if you have an emergency or for some reason you have a university sanctioned activity where you're going to miss the exam, let me know ahead of time and we can maybe reschedule that final exam for you. I know sometimes like a lot of you might be working, you might have big projects due at work, in which case you know that final exam week might just be a mess for you, especially in the fall semester where it falls right before Christmas vacation. For some people or other holiday vacations that you might have in your family, just let me know. You'll have the whole week to take that comprehensive final exam. So there's not a specific due date for you other than the end of finals week. So there is some flexibility already built into the schedule. If for some reason you're very sick, like you're in the hospital during final exam week and you can't finish it, or you can't even get to it because you're deathly ill, let me know that as well. We can figure out what you can do to either take the final exam before grades are due, or we can do an incomplete for the class and then you can take it later. I've never had a student have to do that, but I want to make that an option so that you don't freak out when you get to the comprehensive final exam if something happens that week and for some reason you're not able to take it. As far as assignments go, the weekly quizzes will be due on Sundays. I'm not going to take late weekly quizzes just because they have to be graded. But those assignments that I was talking about, where there's five that are worth 10 points during the semester, and then the last 5 weeks you have something you have to turn in every week, I'll take 20% off the grade for each day that you turn it in late. So essentially by Thursday, if you're turning it in, it's a zero. But that way, then, if for some reason you forget to do the assignment or you don't get it done before the deadline, or for whatever reason, you at least can still get some of the points or at least a partial grade for each of those assignments. I know they don't look like they're a big chunk of the grade, but those assignments are supposed to be applied, so it's really a way for you to practice what we're learning in class, which will help you for that comprehensive final exam. The AI policy I will go over just because each class might have a different one. I actually love using AI to help me with classes or like planning, for example, for this class, or often use it to check instructions on assignments I've created to make sure that they're clear or that there's nothing missing in the instructions and that sort of thing. I kind of expect that a lot of you have probably used AI. And for some of the assignments, I may actually discuss how you could use AI in that assignment, and that would be okay when I've said that. I'm also happy if you want to use AI to check your grammar or writing when you're turning in assignments, you can do that as well. However, like for the weekly quizzes or for the comprehensive final exam, I don't want you to use AI at all for those because I want you to have to kind of sit with the content and show me what you know for those. Also, for the interview project, I will tell you specifically in the instructions where you can use AI and where I don't want you to use AI because there's a lot of parts to that project. And in which case you need to follow those instructions so that you do the work. I think a lot of you will, although having an interview assignment, and I've had many classes that had interview assignments, can seem daunting before you've done the interviews. The interviews are actually usually one of the funnest things about classes when you have those kinds of assignments because you get an outside perspective on the things that we're learning about. So hopefully you won't feel the need to use AI to do anything more than what I've asked you to do in the assignment, which is essentially AI there. I'll probably have you use it to create an interview guide, for example, because I really want you to learn from talking to actual people about compensation and kind of the perspectives they have on that. A lot of these I'm going to not go through right now. Um, Let me go to the tentative course schedule. In here, what I've done is I have all the weeks of the semester, including fall break, which is essentially Thanksgiving break, and then the comprehensive final exam on finals week. I have dates for each week. You get the full week to work on this stuff, so I'll have everything published by Monday morning, if not earlier, for every week, and then things will be due generally Sunday of that week, except for the very last week of the class before finals week, when it's due, everything's due on Friday. I have the topic. The topic may or may not correspond with the chapter names for the chapters you'll read that week. Sometimes I just made it sort of what I think the overall topic is for that week, especially if there's more than one chapter. Here's the reading. Several weeks we just do one chapter, and you can see I already don't do them in order. ERI, by the way, means the Economic Research Institute online textbook. So that URL is up here on the top of the tentative schedule. We go through that the first 10 weeks, and then we'll do the performance management by Charles Caldwell, the last 5 weeks of class, and I have the URL up here as well. A few weeks we go through two chapters. We never go through more than two chapters at a time. The reason I put the two chapters together is often because those two chapters go together in my head for that specific topic, or at least in the way that I've taught it for HR managers in the past or HR students in the past. Hopefully they will blend together. I'll try to make it more obvious as well when we get to those weeks in the videos how those go together. And then on the very last column, I have the to-dos. Hopefully, if you use Canvas to make sure you're getting everything done each week, you'll see your to-do list and it will align with this. If for some reason it doesn't, let me know. Sometimes Canvas with assignments or quizzes doesn't always publish it in your to-do list on Canvas. So I've had students who rely on that to-do list and then they missed something for that week. Hopefully for you, our weeks will mostly be the same in the sense there will always be a weekly quiz, and then for some weeks there will also be other assignments due. And then at the very end of the course, things get a little weird because we'll have the interview assignment due, the interview project due, but then we'll also have the comprehensive final exam, which will be different from the other weeks. But I'm going to use this tentative course schedule to figure out what we do from week to week. And then what I'll do is I'll use the readings and the assignments that we have. I'll organize those in the modules each week within Canvas so that we can keep up to date. if you ever get confused or if you get lost or if you can't remember what's due that week, you can always send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you have any questions about anything I've covered in the syllabus here, I know this video might be kind of long, but I want to get through the syllabus and be kind of comprehensive about it. Just email me or send me a Canvas message and we can go through whatever confusion you have about the syllabus, or if you have questions about when assignments are due, or if you already know there are going to be some weeks where it might be difficult for you to get those assignments done when they're due, email me as soon as you can and we can figure out an arrangement for you so that you can be successful in this class, especially because I know a lot of you are online for a reason, for the flexibility. So if you need that flexibility, let me know.